Welcome in Heckling Fandom. It is Ryan and JJ. Some people actually have to work for a living, so at noon on a weekday, they can't just podcast. So it's time for garbage time. Welcome into Garbage Time Fantasy Football. What'd you say?
I said I will say we have the best intro.
Yes, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's usually pretty magical. How you doing tonight, Ryan?
Good. Unfortunately I had to work all day, so I couldn't just be hopping on at noon, 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Doing podcasts. Must be nice.
Some of us are hardworking Americans while others slack, but here we are. Before we get into anything, Joe will be mad at me if I didn't announce that we do have our contest going on. And there are 4 things that you need to do. And one of them is like this video. The other is comment that you're part of the Heckling Fandom. Subscribe. And there's one more thing, and I don't remember what it is. They have you doing too many things. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment. And if you do those things, I'll enter you in the contest because I'm a good guy. So Ryan and I were talking about this before the show, and we decided that, during these game preview episodes, we talk about the injury reports anyways. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip the news like the rebels that we are, and we're going to get right into the game preview. Anything before we do that, Ryan?
No, I love jumping right into it. It's straight to the good stuff,
Just wing it. All right, so if you couldn't tell from the title, this is part 1 of part 2 this week. We're actually doing 4 episodes this week. So Ryan and I will cover 6 or 7 games tonight, and then tomorrow, Ryan and Ron will cover the second half of the games. So let's go ahead and kick things off here with tomorrow's Thursday night game. Washington Commanders visiting my Chicago Bears wearing their ugly orange uniforms. Ryan, is there any Washington Commanders running back that you can trust in this game?
No. I'm out on that running back room until they talked about they're probably gonna have Gibson like returning kits now. So I'm assuming that's gonna cut into his workload that he's getting in the backfield. So yeah, I don't love any of them.
It's tough for me, especially as a Bears fan, watching them up close. They have been gashed by the run a lot this year. So I really think that Washington should be able to capitalize in the run game versus the Bears. But the question is, who's going to do it? Do you roll the dice with Gibson? If you drafted him, he's probably at least in consideration for your flex. So if you're in a pinch and you have DeAndre Swift, who's on a bye/hurt, or you maybe need to start someone, I think if you have to, you could roll the dice with one of them. But like Ryan said, it's a big risk and it's a messy situation.
Yeah, because I will say I thought Brian Robinson got a lot more snaps than I expected last week.
Yeah, they said they were going to cap him at 20. I don't have the exact figures for how many he had, but
and even that, I was like, they're kind of smoke screening. Like, I don't think they're going to use him at all, but they definitely used him a bit. Let me see if I can pull up. But as far as the McKissick, I think is like there's nothing really there. It's way too crowded now.
yeah,
it doesn't say how many snaps, but he got 29% of the snaps. He had 9 carries for 22 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think McKissick had like 2 carries and 5 receptions. It's just a clustered mess. So,
Well, and I mean, unfortunately for you, you've had the Bears that have been gashed by the passing game too, a couple times. So I mean, if the passing game's tearing it up and working, do they just kind of go that route, you know?
yep. And as far as the Commanders' pass catchers, they have already ruled out Jahan Dotson with a hamstring injury. He's not playing. Logan Thomas has also been ruled out with a calf injury, and De'Ami Brown, who had those 2 big plays and scores Sunday, he is questionable with a groin injury. So really, Terry McLaurin is the only pass catcher that you're going to start if you have him in this one. And unlucky for him, Jalen Johnson is coming back for this one. So we'll see if he ends up shadowing him or what that's going to look like. But a somewhat tough matchup.
I will say though, I've been riding with Curtis Samuel in my flats a few games.
I like completely forgotten that Curtis Samuel's kind of broken out this year. So yes, he is absolutely viable as well.
Yeah, but I'm saying on that offense, it's basically those 2 guys.
Yep. And then Wentz is actually banged up as well. I think they may have taken him off the injury report, but he has a banged up shoulder, and the beat writer said he was holding his shoulder in between throws at practice yesterday. So just keep an eye on that. The Bears have been okay, middle of the pack versus the pass. So that'll be interesting. On the Bears side of the ball, if you have David Montgomery, you're starting him.
Yep.
Mooney the past couple weeks has been catching the deep ball, and the Commanders' corners have given up a lot of big plays this year. So if you have a bye, an Amon-Ra St. Brown or Devontae Adams, somebody out, I think Mooney is playable this week.
Yeah,
you have the stones to do it.
So I think it's risky, but like you said, he's been getting those deep balls. Last week, only 2 receptions, but it went for 52 yards. And before that, 4 for 90. Yeah, he's getting like 25 yards per catch the last 2 games.
Yeah, he's caught bombs in back-to-back games. So keep an eye on him. And then Kmet has also been heating up. I would not start him yet, but he's starting to get more integrated. Started slow just like last year, and he's starting to heat up. And Fields as well looked much better Sunday. So I would start him. I am starting him in our league, but I will not advise.
Not strictly by choice, though.
Well, I would not advise heckling fans to start him, but just keep an eye out. He's starting to heat up. I think the offense is starting to click a little bit, so maybe there'll be some more fantasy viable players for the Bears.
Well, you guys had a rough start to the season when you had your San Fran, Green Bay, and Houston for that 3-game stretch, but you have a little bit friendlier of matchups coming up. I mean, Washington, then you'll have New England. Dallas will be rough, but once he starts getting those touchdowns, I think you'll really see his numbers go up. He's just got to get down there.
Yeah, I think he'll score 2 or 3 times in this one. So I'm rolling the dice on him in a league or 2, but that's just me.
Is he one of your DFS sleepers?
What?
Is he a DraftKings?
Well, he's really just a showdown option because he's playing Thursday night. But if he was on the Sunday slate, I may play him. He's cheap, I'm sure. All right, let's roll into the next game. 49ers visiting the Falcons. This seems like a dream matchup for the 49ers. What do you think about this one? Are they just going to feast on the Falcons defense, who recently traded away Deion Jones? What's this game going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, in this one, I think Debo obviously is a must start. Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, he hasn't been spectacular this season, but I think in super flex leagues, you could probably confidently start him. 2 of the ones that are kind of a struggle at the receiving end is, Ayuk has kind of not been great this year, and Kittle coming back from injury has been been a little bit less than impressive. I think this could be a game where you see Kittle kind of break out a little bit. So I would start him. Usually if you have him, you're gonna start him. But I think this is a game you might see those breakout points.
I agree. And he's in my early DFS lineup. I think he's 5,100 this week, which he just keeps going down and down. So, welcome back, Edward Davis, our favorite Lion fan, one of the classic heckling fans. He has Swift and Jacobs out this week on bye. Nyheim Hines probably not playing due to the concussion. I'm in trouble this week. Higher ceiling, Khalil Herbert or DJ Dallas? Oh boy.
Oof.
That's tough. Last week, the Bears really got away from the run early, and Herbert, I think, only had a couple carries, and Montgomery dominated the touches. And then DJ Dallas, I'm not sure what that split is going to look like for Seattle. You know, is it going to be Homer coming out first or DJ Dallas? Looks like Dallas got the carry after Penny went out. So
I would almost think that DJ Dallas is probably going to get a bigger workload. It just depends on what actually happens with it.
It's really a coin flip. It's not a big coin flip.
That's a thin waiver wire.
It is. Well, they're probably on his team, but hey, look for in your league, if nobody's added Deion Jackson, I would add Deion Jackson. He was very involved for the Colts, and Jonathan Taylor logged another DNP today, so there's a good chance he doesn't play. And I would start Deion Jackson over both of them. That could be a sneaky play this week to get you through.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually a good one. So what do you think are you out on Brandon Ayuk?
No, because I mean, I wouldn't seek to play him, but if I had to play him in a flex, I think this really could be a week that he has some opportunity. Yeah, I think it's a decent matchup. I mean, they should be able to throw on the Falcons. I know that the Falcons have Terrell, but they have too many weapons. It's just a matter of time before Ayuk has one of the big games with his big plays.
He's definitely due for.
He's due. He's very due.
And then, I mean, obviously Jeff Wilson must start at this point. 120 yards and a touchdown last week, so he's coming off a killer game.
Yeah, he's rolling hot. Shanahan said he'd ride the hot hand. One thing to note, Tyrion Davis-Price was back at practice today.
Oh, okay.
So he could be in the mix, but I don't see how they take it away from Wilson the way he's been running. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting when Elijah Mitchell comes back and you got Wilson running well and Davis-Price there. It could be another Washington situation. On the Falcons side, there's not a whole lot to talk about. Both Drake London and Kyle Pitts are banged up. Did Pitts practice today, or was he limited?
I think I saw that he was limited.
That's what I thought.
But even if he was playing, it's been a rough. I don't want to say I called it over the summer, but I did. I do believe I mentioned it a few times.
You did. You were not on the. You were not on the hype train for Pitts.
I backpedaled a little bit on the rankings episode, but before that, I was off the Pitts train. What about Mariota even? Are you interested in a Super Futz league or anything like that? I mean, some people gave up Keenan Allen for him.
Oh, some people. Some people. No, I don't want Mariota, especially versus San Fran. They've been completely nasty this year. I think they might even be the number one overall defense. They've been playing really well. They did lose their starting corner to a torn ACL, but they're playing really sound right now, and Mariota has not been. So,
and I think I'm out on Tyler Algier on this one as well.
Yeah, I wasn't that impressed with last week. He should have been able to get going.
Yeah, so they gave him all the opportunities, and it just didn't work.
Yep. So that's really it. If you have Pitts and he's active, you're probably starting him, and you're probably going to get let down again. But that's just life as a Kyle Pitts owner these days. And Drake London, if he's active, could be a flex option, but it's not a great matchup again. It's probably boom or bust.
little bit off topic here. What's your prediction? Do we get Mariota through the end of the season?
No, I think the Falcons are going to have to see Ritter with the quarterbacks that are in this upcoming class. I think they're going to take a look at Ritter at some point, probably close to the halfway point, I would say.
Okay.
It's tough because Arthur Smith was Mariota's coach in Tennessee, so they kind of have a history. So he's probably a little more loyal to him than some others would be. But I do think at some point we see Ritter this year.
That's a good point because, like you said, you're going to want to look at the rookie you have. Obviously, what was he, a third-round pick?
Who was the third round pick? Yes.
So they don't have a ton invested in him. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything to prevent them going with a first rounder if they don't love with what they see. Is that something to keep in mind in dynasty formats if you have Ritter on your team. So, yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see him if they roll him out. I don't think they have anything to lose at this point.
Agreed. All right, we did not pick the last game either. We've been doing that this year. So who do you got between Commanders and Bears?
I'm going to go. I don't love it, but I'm going to lean Commanders. The Bears defense, I don't trust them, man. I think Wentz might have one of his weird, really good games.
All right, I'm taking the Bears. No surprise. Though I did pick the Vikings last week. All right, who do you got? 49ers, Falcons? I got 49ers. I assume you're
49ers, yeah.
Same boat. All right. Let's get to a very interesting matchup here. Your Pats that kind of shocked everyone last week in those classic jerseys, spanked and shut out the Lions.
Yes.
Taking on the Browns in Cleveland. Browns 2.5-point favorites. What do we think about Ramondre Stevenson? Wheels up, taking off here without Damian Harris in the picture?
Yeah, and it's looking like Damian Harris missed some time. Obviously, I think last week we saw a larger workload than what we'll see this week because he was literally the only other active running back on the team. We'll probably see Pierre Strong activated for this game, but I definitely think he's a solid RB2 option coming into this game, especially with just the way the Pats game plan has been, especially if we're going to have Zappy back in. Matt Jones still isn't a full participant in practice. So yeah, I'm bait on Stevenson this week. I'm also bait on Jacoby Myers. He's been solid in PPR leagues. I think he flies way under the radar. I think people they just don't think about it, but I think he's a solid choice in PPR formats.
Okay. So Jacoby and Ramondre, is that it for the Patriots?
Yeah, maybe their field goal kicker.
Folk. All right. On the Brown side, obviously you start Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Amari Cooper, who has been a pleasant surprise this year, I have to say. A lot of people wrote him off, wanted nothing to do with him, but he's actually been a wide receiver 2 numbers pretty consistently. So
touchdown last week, I think.
Yep. And I think that Njoku, starting David Njoku, he's been one of the hotter tight ends in the league. He's due for a touchdown.
I think so. I mean, last week you saw, the Patriots, our offense isn't that great this season, but our defense is legit, getting in the backfield. I think Brissett might have to make some quick passes, some quick shutdowns, and Njoku could be the guy to get those.
All right. I think that's it for this game. Did I miss anything in this one?
No, you covered everything I had written down. I know this is going to be shocking. I'm taking the Pats on this one. Just held the highest scoring offense to 0 points. It's all rolling.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I'm taking the Patriots.
Yeah.
I'll pick your team.
You're a better friend than I am.
Yeah. I just think Bill Belichick knows Jacoby Brissett better than anyone, and I think he'll be able to shut him down. So as long as they stop the run, I think the Patriots can win in a close one. So
yeah, I think this has the makings for one of those weird, very low scoring matchups where it's.
I just have no idea what's going to happen in that game. All right, moving on. We got the Jaguars and the Colts. Jaguars coming off a really disappointing week 5 fantasy-wise across the board. Lawrence disappointed, Robinson disappointed, Christian Kirk had 1 catch. So are they going to rebound in Indy this week?
So this is one of I might not be the first, but it's definitely one of the few rematches for this season. These teams played each other in week 2. Pittman, I mean, obvious starter. Kirk torched the Colts last time they played.
Yeah.
So I think he could be a solid choice here, even after 2 weeks of being down. So I'd be looking at him. Zay Jones is tough. He's been getting 8+ targets the last 3 out of 4 games, but just it hasn't been producing.
Yeah, I can't bring myself to.
I think I would be out.
Play him anywhere.
I think I would be out.
Yeah.
What about, how do you feel about Alec Pierce?
I think he's definitely viable. Ashton Doolin went on IR today, so I think that just leaves more open for him. Yeah. The last time these guys played, it was a 24-0 shutout for the Jaguars. I think the Colts are going to score this game. I think they'll make some adjustments.
They didn't have Pittman week 2 either, which I think if you have Pittman there, that's definitely going to open up Alec Pierce a bit more.
Yep.
So I don't foresee another 24-0. Next up, I had where are you leaning, James Robinson or Travis Etienne? It kind of seems like Travis Etienne might be creeping into the starting job there. His PFF grade's been pretty solid. I want to say top 10. Maybe not, but it's been pretty good. Do you think he's starting to take over that role?
I think he's definitely getting more integrated, and I think it's definitely more of a split. Last week it was 10 and 10 carries, and Etienne outperformed Robinson. He had the 30-yard run. So I mean, as long as he keeps out playing him, I think he's going to earn that shot.
Are either fantasy viable this week, you think?
I think so. I think, if you're in a pinch, you can play him as an RB2 or flex. It's going to be interesting to see if the momentum shifts more now where Etienne actually out touches them, or if it stays kind of 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Etienne is starting to heat up a little bit.
Then the last 2 I had is Evan Ingram. I think he's viable. Top 15 tight end, which isn't fantastic.
You know who's not viable?
Mo Alley-Cox.
Dan Arnold.
Yeah, that's true. Remember, wasn't Evan Ingram supposed to be riding the bench by now?
Yeah, he was.
Week 2 against the Colts, 7 receptions for 46 yards. If you punted on tight end a little bit, I don't think you're going to ask for much more than that.
Nope. I actually love Ingram in DFS this week. I think he's 3,500. I'm sorry, he's a pretty good bargain. I agree. I think he's definitely viable this week.
And Mo Alley-Cox, he just had that one monster game versus Tennessee. I think that's never going to happen again.
Yeah, I'm not seeking any Colts tight end.
I don't want any part of it.
Nope.
And I misspoke. Alec Pierce didn't struggle against the Jaguars. He didn't play against them. So
yeah, it's a concussion.
Yeah,
concussion game.
So were they missing Pierce and Pittman?
Yes.
Well, there's our answer. So I will. I'm gonna go Colts here. They don't have Pittman. They don't have Alec Pierce back. I'm gonna go that way. I think that's changing my answer from what it was a day ago.
I agree. I think it's a completely different ball game. We didn't really talked about Jonathan Taylor earlier when I was talking to Edward, but he did not participate today, and it's getting late in the week, and I really think there's a shot he misses another game here. So
how are you feeling right now if you took Jonathan Taylor 1-1?
It's the curse. No, what year was it? No RB has repeated as RB1 since I think it was like 2007, the Danian Tomlinson, something like that.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it just never happens. But now they have their 2 starting receivers and their starting running backs probably out. So I like the Colts too. Got the momentum going last week in the dramatic win versus the Broncos. So in that terrible game, extra time to prep. I think they steal this one.
Totally agree.
All right. On to a game I think is a little more fun. Joe Burrow going back down to Louisiana, where he was a star at LSU, to play the Saints. Bengals 1.5-point favorites. What do you think about this game? Just starting your stars?
Yeah, I mean Higgins, Mixon, Burrow, Chase. You got to start all them. The one that I'm out on that I see some people like Tyler Boyd. He had a huge game against the Jets, but it's been minimal since then. I don't think I trust that. Hayden Hurst. So he's had a touchdown the last 2 games.
Yep.
So if you're looking at the tight end position, I don't think you can go wrong there. Alvin Kamara, you have to start him. One thing to watch is Chris Olave and Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry, I think, are all on the injury report.
Yeah, I don't think Michael Thomas is going to play, and Olave is still in protocol, but they said he's feeling better. But that was a hard shot, so I don't know. They could be without all those guys.
And with the new protocol, I don't think anyone's really sure what that looks like right now. Like how long is a concussion going to take at this point with the new system they have set up? So really, the Saints are going to be leaning on Kamara a lot. They're going to be missing a lot of their guys. Jameis Winston, I believe he's still on the injury report as well. So
yeah, I think they're thinking he may come back in this one. He's close. He's really close. So it could be Andy Dalton revenge game again versus the Bengals.
And then I hate to do this to you, JJ. Is Taysom Hill viable for fantasy right now? Tight end 8. Obviously, you can't bank on consistent production, but clearly inside the red zone, they figure out a way to get him in there. At this point, is it worth the risk to start him just because of what the upside is?
I really think he can. If you're a Kamara owner, you hate him because he vultures him on the goal line. But if you look at his Saints stats, he is their leading rusher. And he has 5 rushing touchdowns this year. So if he qualifies as a tight end in your league, in your format, he's absolutely viable with how bad the position's been besides Kelsey and Andrews.
And it'll be interesting to see how they use it. Do you think we see him taking some wide receiver work if Olave, Thomas, and Landry are all?
Yeah, if all those guys are out, I think he really could finally start to catch some balls, even though he's a tight end. He throws and rushes as a tight end, but he doesn't catch the ball.
So I'm very interested to see if those guys are out, what the Saints offense does. Regardless, I'm taking the Bengals on this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals too. Another note, Marshawn Lattimore is banged up, and there's a real chance he doesn't play in this one. So I really like Burrow and Chase in both regular fantasy and DFS this week.
I did forget to mention, I believe Higgins is still dealing with an ankle injury.
Yeah, he is.
Fantasy managers everywhere got burned this past week. I actually won in one of my leads because that person got burned.
I won still because I'm a lucky bastard and Darren Waller got hurt.
So definitely monitor that. I mean, what do you think the plan? Like, what do you think they planned on him playing, and then that first drive he just fell off? And then
they said he supposedly re-aggravated his ankle injury within the first 10 plays that he played, and then he came out. So yeah, keep an eye on it. He's probably going to be active, and it's a pain.
After last week, if he is active, do you still consider putting someone else in if you have someone that's in the same ballpark?
If you have someone in the same ballpark, I would consider it. But so far, Mr. Higgins has been...
Yes. Been problematic.
Yeah. So
we were
recovers.
We were all calling for a breakout year.
He still had some good games. He just needs to stay on the field. All right. So we both picked it. Let's move on. Next game, the Baltimore Ravens travel to New Jersey to face the red-hot New York Football Giants, fresh off their win in London versus the Packers. What's going on with Ron's Giants? Are they finally going to get a reality check this week versus the Ravens?
Sorry, Ron. I definitely, I think so. What they've done has been impressive. I don't think I remember the last time I saw Danny Dime stats like I saw the past week. But with the Ravens, I think you obviously start Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. Duvernay, I think, is an interesting one. I think I would want to see Bateman's status, monitor that going. If Rashad Bateman's out, I think Duvernay is viable as a flex play.
Yep, Bateman is questionable with a foot, so keep an eye on that. With Bateman out versus the Bengals, the offense kind of struggled, but you saw Duvernay be a huge part of the game plan, both running and catching the ball.
And then J.K. Dobbins, I struggle. He goes from a 22-point game to a 4-point game. It just shows the inconsistency in that running court, especially when you have Lamar Jackson. That's your leading rusher.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust him. I could see why some people might be willing to risk it because of the red zone, the possible red zone work like he got 2 weeks ago. But I think I'm out on J.K. Dobbins for a little bit.
It's tough. The Giants can't be had by the run, so I think there's an opening there. They just got to give him the volume that he needs to get rolling. But I think he's viable as a flex and low end RB2, especially with the disastrous start that running backs have had this year. So let me ask you this: would you rather start J.K. Dobbins versus the Giants or Najee Harris versus the Bucs?
I was waiting until we got to that game to start whining about that. Honestly, I think I'd take Dobbins.
I agree.
Which I never makes me upset to say that. So that's what I have for the Ravens. Did I miss any Ravens players?
No, it's really the big two in Jackson and Andrews and then Bateman and Dobbins.
And for the Giants, really, it's kind of a short list. I have Saquon Barkley. Tony missed practice on Wednesday.
I'm not playing him
I think if you're streaming tight end, I think Bellinger is possible. They have no one else to throw to. He put up 10 points last week. I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice or my second probably. But
I can confirm that fellow podcast host Ron Seymour is starting him in winner this week. So,
right.
And just to give a little call out, just for Joe, because he requested Joe in our winner auction league. He kept Mark Andrews and then he bought Travis Kelce as well.
So I still think it was a bad decision, but
he has Kelce and Andrews, and in the draft, Ron Seymour was having a field day with it. Oh, nobody traded with Joe. Let him get stuck with both tight ends all year. And come to find out, he's behind the scenes trying to deal for both Andrews and Kelce. So, calling you out, Ron.
Not good deals either.
No. Of all people, Joe's not going to take those deals.
What, Ron? Rigging the lead so you get to keep the top 3 players for pennies wasn't enough?
Yeah, exactly. And Joe's only kryptonite is Marcus Mariota. Otherwise, he's pretty stingy with trades.
That's true. I don't know what happened. He must have. I don't know if Jamie threw something at him and it hit him in the head or what happened in that night. But
I can't explain it. All right. So we're both taking the Ravens in this one.
Yes.
All right. Next game, we just brought up Bucs and Steelers. So Bucs going into Pittsburgh are 8-point favorites. We saw the Steelers just get absolutely torched by the Bills. Is Brady and Godwin and Evans and crew just going to have an absolute field day with the Steelers?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think Brady, Godwin, Evans, Fournette, you gotta start all of them. Brady had a rough start to the season. I think some people were like Father Time finally got him, but he's figuring it out. And this is a ideal matchup. Also, I think another one to keep an eye on as the season progresses is their rookie running back there that they've been integrating a little bit more into the offense.
Rashad White.
Yeah, he I don't think he's done enough yet to probably value a start, although he'll probably put up more points than Najee Harris in that offense. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And for the Steelers, Harris, like you probably don't have much better. Like I almost feel like you have to start him. Pickens, I think, is viable. Deontay Johnson, I think he's an option. He was targeted 13 times last week.
It's just their offense is not clicking right now.
No, only 5 of those were completed. So I think it might be a rapport issue. So a question I have too. So if you're a Najee Harris owner in Dynasty,
I was.
what are you trying to do? Are you holding out?
Well, I can speak frankly because I traded him to you in Dynasty.
Yeah.
I just
you weren't happy with yourself a couple weeks after that either. But then
I was. It was Chad that wasn't. We have a Chad and
that tried saying that
said it was lopsided and
wanted to veto it.
I got Amari Cooper who has outscored Najee by a heavy margin this year, and then Ridley who will get back next year, and then a first round pick.
You don't have to rub it in too much.
But I mean, the problem is right now he's cold as ice, and you're not gonna get a lot for him. So, and the Steelers have a lot of needs. They're not going to draft the running back high next year. I think you can hold them and just hope that they kind of get the O-line playing better and he turns it around. But
that's why. I mean, he's young, so I agree. I think it's worth holding on to him. Don't do what our lovely commissioner tried to get me to do, which was trade 2 first-round picks and Najee Harris for Kyler Murray. Don't do that.
Jeez, that guy.
Dude, he's a grumpy old man with his back injury sitting on his couch, just trying to rob people blind.
He drank some spoiled milk. He's hallucinating.
Then one more thing, Freiermuth, concussion protocol. I think it was early in the game. So keep an eye on that. Once again, we don't really know with the new concussion protocol. I mean, Tua's already been confirmed out. So, I mean, that's 3 weeks for him. So it'll be 3. I mean, granted, that one was really bad, but
yeah, I don't think Freiermuth's going to play. So again, more opportunity for Pickens and Johnson. Johnson has not scored a touchdown yet this year, so maybe this is the week he breaks the ice. Because I think there could be a good bit of garbage time in this one.
Yeah. And then I forgot his name, but the Butts tight end I don't want anything to do with. Brait. Just not sustainable. And then I'm taking the Butts here for sure.
Yes, 100% taking the Bucks.
Probably their defense and DFS lineups. They might be pretty pricey though.
They are pricey. I think they're the most expensive one this week.
Yeah, so.
Or it might be the Rams. I can't remember.
Can we just talk about how bad the Rams are?
The Rams are averaging fewer points than the Chicago Bears. That should tell you all you need to know.
Like, listen, Cooper Kupp, you just have to do more.
Yeah. I guess to touch on some news that I saw earlier, Sean McVay said that the Rams have not made their final offer to OBJ yet. So they're flirting with him, and he could wind up back with the Rams. So the Allen Robinson contract is looking real bad right now for the Rams. Real bad.
Well, you know what? In Allen Robinson's defense, he has gotten open several times. It's just not throwing to him. One more little bit of piece of news. We'd probably cover a little bit more in the next episode. Obviously, we have to talk about Devontae Adams, push the camera guy or the media guy or whatever. They are on a bye.
Hold on. This seems like a troll. Hey, I'm 0-5 with Herbie. So Justin Herbert, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews. Recently traded for Waddle for flex. Who should I trade and for who? I also have Ken Walker, Josh Jacobs, and Hawkinson on the bench. You're loaded, dude.
Do you have a league of 5 people?
Yeah, I don't know how you're 0-5, my man. I wish I was trolling. That's shocking. That is shocking. You have a really good team.
He must be facing the highest scorer like every week. You know, I would just hang tight. There's still a lot of football left.
It's got to turn around. A. B, you have Ken Walker, who you've sat on, who now could be a league winner with Rashad Penny out for the season. And Jacobs has been a top 5 running back this year. Hawkinson has been a top 5, top 7 tight end. Andrews is obviously 2. If you have Andrews, I would say trade him or Hawkinson. You're really deep at tight end, and you don't need 2 if you have one of those guys, and that's obviously a position people are hurting in. So I would try and flip one of the tight ends for somebody big, like maybe even like Andrews and Amon-Ra for like Justin Jefferson or Cooper Kupp or somebody huge like that.
I don't love Aaron Jones either, actually, especially if you have Cook, Walker, and Jacobs. But that's just me. That offense has been down a little bit, but I mean, he's very likely he could easily turn it around. But
yeah. So he says, oh, it's an 8-man league. Okay. He said, what would my new lineup be? Plug in Ken Walker or Jacobs next week. I think you got to see what Ken Walker is going to do this week. He's playing the Cardinals, which is a decent matchup.
I'd put Jacobs over Aaron Jones, I think.
Well, that's tough. But, I mean, how would he deny it right now the way Jacobs is playing? I would you got to wait and see what Ken Walker would do, but I think you got to keep Jacobs in your lineup right now. But, yeah, man, I would try and trade one of those tight ends for sure.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention I also have Najee. So that's probably a huge contributor to why you're on 5. You've probably started him. So, yeah, we were just talking about Najee, and he is Jacobs has a bye this week, right? So I would plug I'd plug Walker in. I guess I'd have to know if this is a 3 wide receiver too. You're starting Herbert, Cook, Jones. Amon-Ra has a bye as well, so you're starting Jamar Chase, Waddle. Yeah, I'd put Ken Walker in the flex, and then if it's a 3 wide receiver, whatever 3rd wide receiver you have on your bench. But yeah, I would try and move one of those tight ends. Is my answer to your first question. And for Waddle or Aaron Jones? Yeah, I'd play Aaron Jones over Waddle this week.
Yeah, so I'd say pull Waddle and put in Ken Walker.
Yeah, Miami has their 3rd string quarterback going probably.
I think it was confirmed that he's definitely the guy this week.
So trade Andrews and Aaron Jones for one of those top guys. I would first try Hawkinson over Andrews. But yeah, you could definitely do that. You're deep at running back with Cook and Jacobs and Ken Walker. So I do think you could do that. All right. Is that all our games right now?
Yeah, and then I was just briefly touching on the Devontae Adams thing. A little bit of trouble. He is coming up on a bye week. I should have known that meant Jacobs was on a bye week. Do we think a suspension happens? Do you think fantasy owners are going to lose him for 2 weeks?
The guy is really economically savvy. I have to say. I mean, he got bumped on his butt, but I didn't think that the trip to the hospital was warranted from what I saw.
Hey, listen, I
don't think it's going to happen immediately. It's a misdemeanor. And I saw that the court date is, I think it was like November 10th. It's in like a month. So I don't think the NFL will do anything yet.
Really? I don't know. I feel like since it was an NFL, like
Yeah, they saw it. That's the thing. They saw it,
it's on
and it's
Monday Night
everywhere.
Football. That is not
I'll
ideal.
just say it's no Ray Rice in the elevator type clip, but
That was on national TV for a little while.
not a good look for Adams right now.
Not
I
great.
I don't think they're going to suspend him.
Mike Evans got suspended a game for pushing a player.
That's true, but there was a history there.
That's also true. And that push was harder significantly. I don't know. I almost feel like
he apologized. I think he's going to get away with it because of star power.
The first apology was because he's like, "Oh, he bumped into me, so I kind of bumped into or something." But it's like, I don't know. I think the NFL might want to try to send a message.
Protect their cameramen.
Yep.
Just like they protect their quarterbacks.
Yep. But whether it's blown out of proportion or not is a story for a different time. But hey, at least Davante Adams did not bet on his own team to win.
Yeah, there's no bigger crime, honestly. Poor Calvin Ridley sitting at home.
I love it. I know. I feel bad. I went and picked him up in a dynasty. You know what, Calvin? I will wait for you. You
Calvin,
got a spot on my team.
Calvin, you can come to the Bears next year if you want.
How's that work for a contract? Is he like?
He's still with the Falcons, so when he comes back, he'll still be on the Falcons. And
Does this year count?
I don't think they have to pay him. I think it's without pay. It's
so like his 3-year contract just became like a 4-year contract.
Yeah, I don't really know how that works. With the suspension, I'm not sure if it voids the full year, or if it just gets pushed back. I think it might void it because when it initially happened, said it's cost him a lot of money. So I think he gets suspended without pay, and the time of the contract continues on. But
hope it was a really good parlay.
Yeah.
All right, I think we crushed it.
We did crush it. We moved right along. You're under 50 minutes. See how you and Ron do tomorrow.
Yeah. I think we agreed on everything but your Commanders and Bears.
Yes. Yeah, you guys will have some harder ones tomorrow. I think. Maybe not. Jets, the winning Jets versus the Packers.
The Packers losing to the Jets would actually make my day.
That would be awesome.
Usually I always root against the Jets, but that would just it would just be amazing. Not to mention I've had Jordan Love sitting on my dynasty for 2 years. So
yes. Yeah, something's got to happen.
Aaron, let's go. Time's up.
All right. That's it. If it was next week, I would try and talk to you about UFC 280, but we'll hold off on that. It's going to be a juggernaut of a card. Finally, it's been a lot of kind of shitty cards lately, but
I'm scared because it's almost 2 stats. Like I'm waiting for something to go around.
No, they got the back. They got Volk. They got Volk waiting.
Dude, so good. Can't wait. Real quick, who do you got? Who you taking? Who's your early pick?
Oliveira.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Ready to get out of here?
Yep. With that, we're out.
See you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Well, they'll be back tomorrow. Peace.